Alright, check it. The truth is balance. If you want to know the answer to life and everything that exists in the universe, the answer in the truth is balance. First off, everything that exists in this universe exists in the form of balance. Balance is the complete comprehension and understanding of reality. Reality is the truth and as real as it can get. Now, the world is full of darkness, but at the same time, it's full of light. There's just as much death in the universe as it is life. People are under the impression that life can only be experienced by the living, which they understand to be something that breathes, something that moves willfully, when in reality, that is just another form of life. Because trees are also considered living, and at the same time, they do not move at will. They feel that it lives and then it dies. Rocks don't live and they die. To the understanding of those who are taught the lie. Truth is, everything that exists is alive and lives in its own life span. That means the earth itself is alive because it exists just like we exist. Now, everything that doesn't exist is made up of non-existence. Everything that does exist balances out the non-existent by forming a concentrated form of existence. That's all it really is. A star is made of something that they call dark matter, something that they cannot see, which is to their impression of non-existence, because they cannot prove that it exists. When in reality, we wouldn't exist if nothing existed to make anything exist. It's just on a level beyond those comprehensions of the liars. This is only because they chose to dictate who gains the knowledge and who doesn't. Fail to understand that quality precedes quantity is the failure and the folly of man. To prolong our existence, we would have to make everything else that exists fail in comparison, because comparisons are what tips the scales. Something having more than something else is balanced out by the lack thereof. Say you 40% water, 60% metal. You're balanced out by your complete opposite. Of course, you can't see your complete opposite, because for you to exist, it cannot. Therefore, the strongest and most powerful being in the world could never exist, because of the balance. There's no one focused on quality. They're more focused on quantity. Therefore, in order for the supreme being to ever exist, it would have to be a realization of the balance, which would turn the spread into a concentration. Because by dictating who should be the rulers and who should have the power, those without the qualifications gain things they do not deserve. And when you do this, you dilute the truth. You dilute the absolute fact of what it could be and make something else the truth, which is what it is. I realize that they do be telling us the truth about everything. They just don't tell us how to perceive the truth. They tell you the truth, but show you the lie. So you would define the truth as a lie, because you hear the definition, but see the wrong perception of what the definition is. They say there's no hell on earth like a woman scorned. It's just the truth. You have to raise the bar of the woman, which will equally raise the bar of man. You narrow the female's quantity into quality, you produce more quality. This is the truth. Nothing is stronger than anything. That's more concentrated. It's like a bottle of bleach. If you had a whole bottle of bleach at 100% efficiency, it will act and move at 100% efficiency. And the more of a concentrated factor mixes with other concentrates, the more potent, the more powerful it becomes. But when you dilute this, the less effective it becomes. because it's balanced. Regardless of what the situation is, it's all and it has only ever been balance. The more knowledge we gain, the more people exist. The falsification of this being an intelligent thing is a lie. The truth is, the more concentrated reality and the strong is, the more powerful it will become. That's just the truth. Now, I don't know if anybody watched this movie or this cartoon show, whatever it's called, where the power of insight. I have a little problem. When I focus, I get distracted. These distractions come to balance me out. Because it takes great concentration to realize what is not realized yet. But that's all that exists, is balance. There's just as much reality as there isn't reality. There's just as much truth as a lie. People don't understand that because it's the truth in the lie. And there's lie in the truth. Everything is, at the same time, it is not. People want to see things the way they want to see things. But that's not really how things really are. Just as much as it is. Like, making black people your enemy. Let me break a little piece of the balance off so you'll understand. So, like, what do you think would happen if all the black people died now? They state that they, use black people as test dummies. You understand? And they try to make it look like it's only the black people that are being tested. The truth is, this is a lie. As well as the truth. They want you to believe that because they don't want you to know that it's really not the truth. They are killing black people. They are mainly using them for test subjects, but they're not the only ones. Because they're not the only ones affected by anything that they do. Black people wasn't the only ones that got syphilis. I mean, black people wasn't the only ones that were getting hanged. Black people wasn't the only ones like dying in slavery. But in reality, in someone's reality, it was the truth. while in another person's reality, it was a lie. And think, without the balance of black people being used as scapegoats, who would be there to die? I'll give you a perfect example. Ukraine and Russia. People were always going to kill people. It's what people do. People will always try to convince other people to be more like them, or to follow their lead, or to live in their beliefs for comfort, to be comfortable. And ain't nothing wrong with that, except for just as much as it isn't something wrong with that, it is. To be concentrated is to be perfected. But nothing can be perfect without imperfection. That goes back to the rule of balance. Because for one to exist, the other has to exist equally. Like I was saying, like these shows, they show about the zombies. They say people will be like the living dead. They will all search or try to make everybody like them. Those are zombies. People believe that they have to die or get some radioactive waste and stuff like that, but they fail to realize that everybody on Earth is technically full of radioactive waste. We get it from TVs and radios and refrigerators and microwaves and other things like that, because all of these things is radioactive. Because all of these things use radio waves. That's the truth. Try to make it seem like we're going to be able to travel to different planets. Let me just break everybody's heart right quick and tell you that we can't leave Earth, because Earth is a part of us. They say, oh, it was a great war between man, gods, and titans. And they were like, titans were the creators of men. Titans were the elements. The gods were like masters of these elements. And man were the creations of gods. Did you peep the line where something went wrong? See, if the titans were the elements that created gods, and gods were then the masters of these elements, who are we but the masters of gods? And if you think about it, The truth is right there in your face. Sociology teaches us that, not just sociology, anthropology teaches us that religion, in a lot of people's eyes, is just looked upon as a social concept. So you gotta think about it. If black people are used as a scapegoat, then what would happen when all the black people are dead? There would be no scapegoat, but there would be no diversity. There would be no greater being concentrated into one. Because the greatest human being wouldn't just be the fastest, wouldn't just be the smartest, wouldn't just be the strongest. Like it would be a perfect balance and combination of everything. And all of these are quantitative, just as much as they're qualitative. Meaning the qualities have to be concentrated into a more singular form. It's just that simple. But the reality of our situation is they're taking away the variables. The variables are important. They're like building blocks. They help create the foundation from which everything else is built upon. To destroy anything that is a factor creates an unbalance in the variables, which is balanced equally by simply the possibility of it not being imperfected or changed. So what happens is the foundation changes. You destroy the variable, you destroy the foundation. And as it narrows, it's diluted. So they think that they're smarter, think that they're fast, all this other stuff. When in reality, they didn't lift the concentration, create a better quality of diversity that later can be combined back into a singular, more powerful force, which can only be swayed by other singular, powerful forces equals to its mass and density. Or stronger. Anything less than it will be swayed by it. Sad part is that this is a reality that was known for the longest. And out of sheer fear of not being able to dictate or determine who the final victor is, someone disrespected and changed the factors and the variables in their favor, failing to realize that just as equally as they put it in their favor, they did the opposite. Because in order for one to exist, the other has to exist to define it. As simple as that.